Hello, Star Wars toy fans. This is Jim Kelsey, and thank you for taking the time to stop by my YouTube channel. Today's video, I'm going to show a comparison between two of Jabba's skiffs from Return of the Jedi that Hasbro produced, both 20 years apart. One was released in 1999, is considered the Power of the Force 2, and according to my sources, it is a re-release of the 1985 Power of the Force version. And then the other one is the part of the vintage collection produced in 2019 by Hasbro. Now, a little bit about the 1999 re-release. It's a fabulous sculpt, and if, again, like I said just a few seconds ago, it's an exact replica of the 1985 version, which is very difficult to find. That was the last year that Kenner released the toys, and they released them in limited production. And so consequently, to try to get an original one, even outside the box, is really expensive. Just this last month, I've been following one on eBay that is in the box, and it's selling upwards to $800 and $850, and still the reserve has not been met, and it's at its third week now. So that just goes to show you how expensive those things are. So if you want a different version of the skiff, like what I did, and you want, really, it's an exact replica of what was produced in the 80s. For $50 or less, you can get both of these a piece for that. And so for under $100, you can get both of these and including shipping. And for me, I'm not one that I like to have duplicates of everything. Like, for instance, I only have one white TIE fighter, but I also have the Power of the Force 2, produced in 1995, and then I have the Battle Damage from 1983. I don't need multiples of those because I just simply don't have the space. So to have different versions of the same thing is kind of cool, especially since there are 3 of them used in the movie, and so right now I've got 2. And according to the sources that I found on YouTube as well, there was another one released that I do not have, produced in 2009, I think. But anyway, let's get on to the ships. So here we have the 2 ships, and the one in front is the re-release, 1999, and here we have the 2019 version. So the first thing I want to talk about is the exclusive action figure that came with the 1999 version. So this is a Luke Skywalker, and it resembles very much the Power of the Force 2 series in that it has a swivel waist, and of course, like the original series, you have a movable head, movable arms, and movable legs. But this also has several other points of articulation. It has a rotating wrist, which is neat. It shows a little battle scar there, and then legs that bend. And I personally like those in the figures because then they can sit in a chair without their legs sticking straight out. But I'm not impressed with this sculpt as a whole. There are better ones out there, I am sure. Now, doing a comparison of the sculpts, I mean, here is the Power of the Force Luke Jedi. I think this was the second release that Hasbro did, 1996, I think. Luke's just buffed out. Mark Hamill was not built like that. And then the one from my childhood, the 1983 version. And, you know, not to be nostalgic, but this really is my favorite of the 3. So now, looking at this skiff from 1999, I'm just really impressed with how much the designers at Hasbro put into such a small little ship. I mean, there are just tons of play set features that make it incredibly fun for the child. And you know, I guess if you're familiar enough with this ship, I guess the original toy is quite brittle. And if you happen to acquire one, you're lucky to find one that's complete. Many parts are either broken or lost in the ship. To try to complete it's very difficult. So let's talk about some of the features here that it has in it. Going to the back, the steering fins has a little lever here, and so it rotates those back and forth. That's pretty neat. The next real cool feature has to do with this spring-loaded launching pad, so that way you can launch a figure over the rail, and the rails fold down. So let's give that a shot. Now, the issue that I have right away is that the pegs here are an inconsistent size, both for the Hasbro release and for the Kenner release. Now, one of the my pet peeves with Hasbro is that they did not keep the holes in the feet the same size as they did the Kenner. In fact, they made them much smaller, and it seems as the years go on, they make them smaller yet. And I realize they're trying to be more realistic with the person that portrayed them. Like, for instance, Carrie Fisher probably had very small, petite feet, and so therefore the action figure of Princess Leia needs to have small, petite feet. But that means that they're totally incompatible with the old Kenner play sets. And so none of the figures really stand all that great on these pegs. I wish they had just left them with the original size, because the original size is pretty large. An 1/8-inch peg can fit pretty nicely. So anyway, he's going to fall off there, but we'll put the rail up, and maybe we can get him to flip over, knock off there. You get the idea. Disappointing as that is. So, and then a couple other cool features on this. You have a little weapons rack there if you want to store weapons. But they have 2 levers here. So this left lever moves the plank in and out. There we go. And you can see that the end drops off. Again, you can see a different size, and that's a much larger size than this peg. So this one fits more the original one, but even still, it's loose on it. So that this lever moves that in and out. And then the right lever moves the landing gear in and out. So we'll move that, and there we are. Pretty slick. Now, the landing gear kept folding up on me. And so what I ended up doing, and you purists will hate this because, well, I customized it. So I did not like it collapsing on me. So I took a little metal brad, and just used a pin vise and drilled a hole in there, and then painted it accordingly. Those of you that want to do that, you want to use don't use an electric drill. You'll really wallow out the plastic doing that, and there's not much room here anyway. So just use a pin vise, just a hand drill, and drill your hole in. I super glued it in, and now it holds the landing gear in place. And then I painted it accordingly. So if you want to find the right paint, this is Sac Bomber Tan FS34201. Perfect match. Now, looking at the Hasbro release, the first thing you'll notice is that it's considerably larger than the original Kenner. And so it's a big size difference. It also does not have the same play features that the Kenner one does. It's got some neat detail work, I think, and if you're a collector, modeler, you probably like that. But for a kid, it just doesn't do the same thing that the vintage Kenner release did. So for starters, let's take a look at the base. So it's sitting on these pylons here, and the base actually rotates. Now this is a neat feature with this. Very stable, and so you could have it tilted over like it did in the movie as guys are dropping off into the Sarlacc. The fins do move, but not with a lever. They just move by hand, rotate all sorts of directions. You look underneath, and all you have is just cooling vents there. The rails do break off, but they don't fold down. They're stationary in place. I chose to keep the fixed one as opposed to the broken one. Here's the instructions, shows you can exchange them out if you want. That just didn't work for me, so I just kept it just fixed. Has the plank, but it doesn't move by a lever like here. These are just steering things, and they move with limited rotation. So just pull out the plank. There you go. No pegs whatsoever. And then this is the hobbyist aspect, I guess. It has 3 openings, hatches, if you will. Open the center one. Maybe you can store some weapons in there. You can see some detail work. Here's the detail work on the inside of that. And then it's got a couple plates, access plates. I'm not sure what this would be for, other than, oh, you can see the internal workings. Okay. drop a gun down in there, a vintage Princess Leia gun, and lost for good. This one pops up as well. There's a part of me, the hobbyist aspect of me, that thought, you know, where these injection mold holes are, what if I just drilled some holes and put some pegs in? I don't know if I want to do that or not, but that I may in the future. So anyway, these just snap back into place pretty easily. And of course, the other feature is you have some weapons racks around there. And the detailing is really nice. I mean, you got some battle damage here, battle damage there. It's just a nicely detailed ship. So here we are with the same type of figures in the same scene on both ships. And now you can see really how much extra space the 2019 version has. The 1999 version has all of my vintage figures on them. Barada is the only one that I did not have as a child. All the rest are from my childhood. And then, of course, in the Hasbro releases, most of them Power of the Force ones, they're on the 2019 version. So, a lot of fun. A lot of great detail, and I hope that you found this video interesting. And again, I think both of these are worthwhile pieces to acquire if you don't have them in your collection. So put a thumbs up if you like the video, and look forward to having you come around the next time.